Now, originally I really hadn't planned on buying this aircraft model, but ended up picking it up anyways, and ultimately I'm actually quite happy with that decision. With that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A330-300 of Malaysia Airlines. At the front of the box we have a cutout, so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of that we have the Malaysia Airlines branding. The backside of the box reveals that Herpa still does not care about their customers nor their products, as they continue with this dreadful box design. So the only thing of importance here is simply the fact that this model is a limited edition. And here she is, the Airbus A330-300 of Malaysia Airlines in the special Harimau Malaya livery. Now, I fully admit I had absolutely no idea what this livery was about. Given that it depicted a tiger, I assumed it had something to do with promoting a wildlife protection program or something like that, but it's not. It turns out it is promoting the Malaysian national football team. So yeah, I learned something new today. And with that rather uplifting start to the video, let's take a closer look at the aircraft model itself to see what it actually has to offer, and that means, of course, we're starting our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer find the Malaysia Airlines branding. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft around a highly stylized version of the Malaysian flag, which of course is part of the overall color scheme of the aircraft. And towards the very tail of the aircraft we also have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we find this depiction of a tiger, above which it says Harimau Malaya, and Harimau translates into tiger, so basically what it says here is Malayan tigers, and Malayan tigers is the nickname of the national football team of Malaysia. And so it is also not in the least surprising that we find the Malaysian FA's crest printed on here as well. And of course we then also have the flag of Malaysia and the writing of Malaysia Airlines. We do actually also find some static ports and a One World logo, of which Malaysia Airlines is a full member. And on top of the fuselage, as if it wasn't enough, we also have this lovely little sat dome. The cockpit section itself then unfortunately doesn't offer us too many printed details. I mean, Herpa could at least have added a few petrol tubes, but the only printed details we get here are simply the cockpit windows with the window wipers, but at least Herpa is doing rather well with the shape of the mold here and the shape of the nose with their A330s. The engine nacelles have then been kept in all white, but do have the silver leading edge printed on and some safety relevant markings, which really help out the engine's overall look, which is then further supported by the great physical detailing of the engines, especially also here from the front, where we very nicely can see the engine fan blades. From the engines we can move on to the wings, which we should also take a closer look at, starting off with the top side, where we can see the different flap slats and spoilers have been carved out very nicely, and we also have some different shades of grey for additional detail. What I especially also like with the wings are actually the pylons and this little detail that the tips of those have been colored in. The underside of the wings then also have some lovely physical detailing, and we also find the full registration code of the aircraft has been printed on once again. And of course we also have the winglets with the Malaysian Airlines branding printed on. From there we can move on and take a look at the landing gear, which is the standard landing gear for all Airbus A330-300 and 200 aircraft models from Herpa Wings, which is a good thing because overall it actually looks very nice, except of course that I am missing a few printed details around the front landing gear. And then last but certainly not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A330-300 in the special Malaysia Airlines Harimau Malaya livery from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Now, personally, and I do hope that I'm not offending anyone here, but this is my personal opinion, that the livery looks absolutely hideous. But I do like aircraft models with a bit of a backstory, and the fact that, due to my own ignorance, I thought this would be promoting some form of wildlife protection program, and then it turns out that it promotes the Malaysian national football team, I think is kind of funny and kind of cool. Also, I mean, ultimately you have to give it to Herpa. They have done really well with this aircraft model. The print quality is excellent, and they have managed to execute really tiny details really well. Also, the physical detailing of the A330 is very, very nice. I mean, the mold itself is perfect. Herpa is really doing well with the A330 mold, and they've executed it very well in this case as well. And I love also the fact that they have added this tiny little sat dome to the top of the fuselage. Not that the fact that they have added a set dome there, because that should be there, but the fact that they have added it in a correct size, because they tend to really overdo the set domes, and suddenly they seem to manage to do it correctly, and that's great. So in the end, this leaves me with an aircraft model with a cool backstory and a model which really plays into the strengths of Herpa, and where the Herpa nonsense has really been toned down to the bare minimum, and we even have a few improvements. So ultimately, except for the terrible box and the ridiculous pricing, this is the perfect package for me, and therefore I would say absolutely worth having in one's collection. And with that rather uplifting ending, it is time to end today's episode. If you have enjoyed the video, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated, and of course if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, hope to see you soon again, I'm checking out, and bye.